Let's talk about Max Christie and the season that he's been having. His stats won't blow you away, but it's his attention to detail and his ability to limit mistakes on a mistakes-prone Laker team that has been most impressive. Here he stays glued to one of the NBA's most lethal shooters in Kevin Huerter. Christie's ability to navigate through screens has always been extremely smooth. He gets a bit out of position as Huerter cuts the route, but take a look at what Christie does next. Instead of running back into Huerter for the closeout and ultimately risking a blow-by, he hops back into the shooter and then drops right back into his stance. The high hands with the hop would bother a shot if Huerter decides to shoot this. The hop also covers more ground and helps Christie get back into his stance a lot quicker. Now there's a ball screen being set for Huerter. Christie knows that there are weak side shooters, so he trails Huerter with both hands up. This prevents the pass, and also with Huerter being a right-handed shooter, it would be difficult to get a decent shot up with Christie contesting from the right side of his body. Notice how Huerter has to go into a deep step back to get enough space to get that shot off. And even then, Christie has two hands in his face, no swiping, no fouling, just a tough contest. Amazing, amazing defense by the rookie. Same story on the next play. He tracks one of the most brilliant players coming off the screens in Patty Mills. Watch how he plants going around this screen and then takes the perfect angle around Claxton, and then same thing. Two hands up in the face of Patty Mills and angles his body away from the shooter to avoid the contact. Doesn't get much better than that on the defensive end. As Christie gets more seasoned in the NBA, his ability to read players and their tendencies will improve, which will make him an even sharper defensive player. In this situation, he sees the play before it happens. He's guarding De'Aaron Fox on the wing, and Toscano Anderson is guarding the shooter in the corner. As Malik Monk drives, Christie knows that the defense will collapse, and Toscano Anderson is crashing towards the rim, and it is now Christie's job to guard two in De'Aaron Fox and Terrence Davis on the weak side. As Malik Monk gets into the air, Christie knows that he only has two options on where to pass this ball. 9 times out of 10, this pass goes to the corner. Christie smartly anticipates this pass going into the corner, but he guessed wrong. Malik Monk makes a very difficult pass and gets it to De'Aaron Fox on the wing. Now instead of hanging his head, Christie sprints right back into the play and gets into the space of De'Aaron Fox to contest this shot, which goes in. But I want you to take a look at what Coach Phil Handy is doing at this point. Even though the shot goes in, he's clapping on the sideline, which is an indicator that the coaches appreciate this type of defensive effort, especially from a rookie. And on the offense, he's just as attentive with his reads. There's a pick and roll involving Westbrook and Gabriel up top. Christie's being guarded by Cam Thomas, who is the first defender tagging if Gabriel decides to roll or gets open. Notice that as soon as the pick and roll is triggered, Christie cuts behind the vision of Thomas. As soon as he receives this pass, Gabriel now has Christie wide open under the rim with this cut, but he doesn't make the pass. You can argue that that's because Kevin Durant is still in close proximity. Now, if there's a more respectable shooter in the place of Kendrick Nunn here, KD would be playing a lot closer to the corner, and this would have been a layup for Max Christie. Lonnie Walker gets it to AD in the post. Christie's man Patty Mills is spying and looking to catch AD off guard with a quick trap. Christie is fully aware of how far Patty Mills has strayed into the paint, and he immediately cuts baseline. Again, this is a great read by Christie because not only is he cutting behind the sight line of both Patty Mills and Joe Harris, but AD would have a great passing angle to deliver him this ball out of the post. Unfortunately, Lonnie Walker cuts at the exact same time as Christie. Because Walker is in the direct sight line of Mills and Harris, they now slide over to close the gap, which also blows up the cut that Christie just made. As he continues to learn more teammate tendencies and opponent patterns, these types of cuts will soon start turning into more points. This last play speaks to Christie's growing decision-making skills. Here he takes the DHO and attacks downhill into the paint, drawing Westbrook's defender THT in the process. He makes the right read and passes this over to Westbrook on the wing. Christie now finds himself sitting in the paint. Based on what you see on this freeze, what do you think he does next? A. Set a step-up screen for Westbrook, B. Stay in the paint and wait for an offensive rebound? Or C. Vacate the paint into the open space? If you went with C, vacate the paint into the open space, you're spot on. But here's why. Christie knows Westbrook likes to attack and put pressure on the defense. But notice where THT is closing out from. He's taken away the middle of the floor, so Westbrook's driving lane is now directly in the path of where Christie is sitting, and spacing would become a problem. So Christie simply drifts to the top of the key, which opens things up for a Westbrook drive. The defense now has a decision to make. Do they stay and clog the paint to prevent a Westbrook bucket, or do they follow Christie out to the three-point line? They decide to stay. Westbrook does what he does best in driving and kicking it out to the open Christie, and he knocks it down. Christie's growth and IQ for the game has definitely developed faster than I thought. Even with Schroeder coming back, I wouldn't be surprised to see Christie's minutes increase substantially upon his return.